It's just taking a minute. All
You
right,
have
perfectly
no
fine.
idea how hard it is not to just start
Oh, there we go.
the goddamn countdown every time someone starts doing it.
It is live. I see it.
There we go.
Alrighty, there we are. And immediately got hit by an ad. Lovely.
Well, this feels
Alrighty,
As
okay.
is tradition.
as is tradition. All right. So now that I know that everybody is up and everybody can hopefully hear me, uh, welcome in everyone to the end of the year 2025 Revshare Summit. If you would be so kind, Tal.
Of course. Let's get this puppy started.
All right. So, for those of you wondering who the heck is speaking right now, my name is Rebel Phantom. I am one of the producers here on the project, and I help handle a lot of the internal machinations of the dev team here. Um, I basically just ensure that everybody's working well with each other, everything's getting done on time, and this monolithic project of ours can get up to speed in a relatively quick fashion. At this time, I would like to quickly direct everyone's attention to the chats of your respective wherever you're watching this, either in our Discord or on our YouTube channel. There should be at this point a Google form that is being passed around. That is for our AMA section at the end. So if you have any questions for the dev team or for anything regarding the universe, click on that form and fill out your username and whatever question you have, and we will get to as many of them as we can at the end of our stream. At this point, I'm going to quit my yapping so that everybody can get to where they are actually wanting to listen to, which is our future of the project. So for that, I'm going to pass it off to our co-creator and lead writer, Mr. Greebles. You
Hello,
have the
everybody.
floor.
Thank you, Rebel. Yeah, it's good to see everybody. I hope everyone's enjoying their vacation and has had a good holiday season, whatever religion you are subscribed to. I'm Mr. Greebles, and I'm the co-creator with Joaz. I'm going to kind of just tee up the rest of the team by starting off with just my section, but also a little bit of the other things that we have done this year and plan on leaning into next year. So, starting off, we've got lore and more lore. As is my responsibility, is to flesh out everything that is in the Morningstar universe. And one of the things that I did, or that I've kind of started and stopped over the last 2 years that we've existed with a podcast, and we've got about 8 episodes of those out. You can go and see previous episodes on I believe it's only Spotify right now, but we will expand that outward into YouTube. And it's my plan to get the entire 400 to 500 pages of the index read out loud in the first quarterly of 2026. So I'd like to just apologize for those who were listening every week. I things slowed down. Um, but what'll be great about this is that once the index is done, we can move on to some of the other documents that we're going to talk about today. But the next big thing, because my voice can't carry the bulk of the Morningstar representation, I am happy to say that we are going to be getting into audio dramas. Now, there's a couple different ways that we're going to be doing this. The first is going to be a little bit more of a kind of noir setting where you'll have kind of a detective style expositional experience where someone is making recordings. But we are also going to be getting into full cast and with effects, audio dramas for things like the comic book, which you can currently read all of the issues on the Project Morningstar website. I'm also very happy to say that the Shigwe lexicon is finally done. It's not published yet beyond members of our Discord, but we have shown it to our Patreon members first, and then in a smaller setting the various areas on the Discord. So just a quick thank you to the patrons, which we probably should open every single slide with saying that, because literally without those guys, we cannot do any of these things. Um, but the Shigwe lexicon will allow you to understand Selohi, which is what our exogens speak in the episodes. Next year will be a much bigger. The Shigwe will have a much bigger presence in the lore, so you can learn more about them. But it also means that, as promised from about 6 months ago, the next lexicon will be Utar, which will be a much shorter document, because Utar, it doesn't drift very far beyond things like Kilol, which just means kill everything and in response to almost everything. So it'll be easier on me. Um, uh, uh, as everybody saw with episode 3, we finally kind of see a bigger opening of what's going on with the rest of the Hegemon universe, or the Hegemon culture, and you can see a little bit of the patron class, as well as the magnates and the people who support them. So something that the writers, as well as Joaz, is going to really be leaning into is understanding what daily life in the hegemon is like, what other exogens have survived, exogens that have been in known space longer than the Shigwe, and of course, unionists representing the dissident factions that are in either rebellion, protest, or outright conflict with the hegemon. So, multiple human factions. The next page just gives you a quick showcase of just what the format of the Shigwe lexicon is going to be. There will be nouns, verbs, adverbs, as well as a little bit some of the colloquialisms. All of this is going to set the stage for a proper document that has everything that you'll need to know about Shigwe culture, as well as where they come from. Um, the next page, just to kind of put a period on the things that I mentioned. For 2026, we will be specifically showcasing an expanding universe through factions. We don't want anybody to think that we are just the Hegemon and the Shigwe. And the best way to do that is tell our version of the hero's journey through corporate. And what that means is, I'm very happy to say that we will be adopting the 2D20 system by Modifius. That will be a role-playing game that we are. If you're on our Discord, you can see the efforts that are there. We'll be making those public so people can play test them pretty soon. We also have recently had some initial conversations with one-page rules, and even though internally we will be exploring, I come from tabletop. A lot of the other members of the team come from tabletop. The community is obviously very much into the miniatures that we've been releasing over the course of the last couple months. The good news is that we will use one-page rules as kind of a kickoff point to start seeing how our lore applies to a rule-based system, while we also explore making our own rule system from the bottom up. And then probably one of the most exciting things is that we are planning for cosplay, which we'll be sharing some of that a little bit later. But effectively, our goal will be for people to be able to turn into Barakan. We have plans for 3D print opportunities, as well as how-tos for fabrication. So I'll just leave that there because we'll pick it up later. As mentioned, there are multiple human factions. We have the Caranova Republic, which some might argue is the true hegemon, or at least the true followers of Dumno Ualos, as well, and then we also have the Uthmani League. And the Uthmani League, if you have been paying attention to some of our social media, which I recommend you follow, are very much a cyborg type faction that is much older than the hegemon, and has a lot of negative things to think about them. For Unionists, we'll be exploring more of illegal super soldier programs. Most recently, in a short story, we got to explore what switch skins are. The best way to describe them is imagine two people struggling to survive inside of one body, and it's somewhere. I would describe it best as like the Incredible Hulk, but if the Incredible Hulk didn't make a full transition from Banner to Hulk, so you get to see both bodies kind of in a really creepy, the Thing style way squeezing out of each other, and we're very happy with those. And then we'll also start talking about this growing conspiracy that unionists are starting to work together somehow across the midworlds and even in the Exocore, and and starting to actually do real damage against hegemon infrastructure and property. So, and I highly recommend taking a look at the comic that we have on our website, and you can see the beginnings of that conspiracy. Finally, we will be identifying 3 different haven holds that are breaking out of the Veil Nebula. Uh, the the haven hold that you see in the animation is just the first, so 2 more will be arriving on the scene, and we will also be exploring Do Spiders Bother You, which is some exogen species are more crafty than others. And even though the hegemon has done a very good job of exterminating all exogen in the exocore and the midworlds, some of these aliens have managed to piggyback, let's call it, onto human beings and are hitching a ride. And you'll see more of that in the months to come. So, very excited about that. Um, and I'd love to pass the mic now to Joaz, who, well, this is just going to be a treat. Joaz.
Oh, hello. Yes. Sorry, I'm still getting my bearings because, like I said, I literally just climbed out of bed like a minute before, H hour. Uh, I've been mega busy with trying to get the ledger of the directorate together. The ledger is going to be a comprehensive document explaining how the military forces of the hegemon of a thousand empires actually work, and a look into their different branches, strategies, tactics, and technologies. It's going to be a catalog of story snippets, weapons, vehicles, and whatever else you might think of a spacefaring military force might need. Now, these next slides are going to be snippets of illustrations from that document, and you can cycle back and forth through them as I, speak here. Now, these are in full color, and the ledger is, for stylistic reasons, mostly in black and white, but we will have some color illustrations there too. Um, I believe we have like 5 slides of stuff. I'm not sure if you can set them to cycle automatically. But yeah, we're going to be looking at the Army, the Air Corps, and the Armada, as well as some stuff about how the Directorate works with mercenaries and the maritime branch of the Army. So there's gonna be a lot there, and some of these pictures give you an idea of what the ledger is going to be containing. Uh, I'm still tweaking some of it. There's still some more stuff to be added to it, but it's soon going to be done and out for you to read. And yeah, that's been my main project for the past month or so. As well as, of course, overseeing all the other things that we're working on. The cosplay project is particularly scintillating, I would say. But yeah, until the ledger is out, I'm not sure if there's anything more I have to say about it. You're gonna see rocket planes, you're gonna see laser guns, you're gonna see giant tanks, tracked tanks, wheeled tanks, walking tanks, all kinds of things. Big spaceships, small spaceships. Yeah, we're basically seeking to have a lore document on the Directorate's workings done in such a comprehensive way that we don't need to update you guys on that for a while because it's gonna contain most of everything. You know, excepting maybe certain individual characters or story events that we can of course expand on later. So yeah, that's been my main thing for a while now, and I can't wait to get it out to you guys. And yeah,
Alrighty.
that's
Oh,
basically me. I'm not sure if I have anything more to say about it.
fair enough. Thank you for your presentation on the ledger. Um, at this point, I'm going to ask Greebles to come back up to the stage to discuss our next initiative.
Great. Awesome.
Um,
And I think Rebel, just so you know, I think there might be a little bit that delay might have come back. But if you can hear me, why don't we go to yes? Okay, we're here on Cybeck. So Cybeck couldn't be with us today. Cybeck is a fantastic YouTube creator and fan animator. I highly recommend you take a look at his stuff. But a couple months ago, we announced that we would be partnering with him, as well as a couple other directors in similar spaces. And I'm happy to inform that he has made leaps and bounds with his team to be able to, yes, there we go. Oh, yes, no, let's go to the next slide. Yes, to be able to start expanding into another aspect of the Morningstar universe. So something that's very important to us is to be able to give people the templates and the lore and design concepts in order to tell their own story within Morningstar. So just like anything, the hegemon is not a monolith of the same vehicles over and over again, the same technologies, even the same cultures. And what Cybeck and his team have done is go after a mercenary group that operates in the midworlds. And so these guys, as you can see here, um, are probably better funded in a lot of ways than the hegemon directorate forces. And that's because these guys operate on behalf of the corpos directly. And so you can see where we've given the leeway for Cybeck and his team to have something that would be a little bit more high tech, a little bit more modern, while also adhering to the general rules of our universe. One of the things that perhaps you'll pick up on is that the directorate, for example, uses cylindrical. You know what, Joaz, are you still here? Yes,
I haven't
Joaz.
gone anywhere.
Yeah, great, great. So one of the examples would be that like we use these kind of cylindrical magazines for the directorate troops, and you can see here if you zoom in that they're using different types of. I'm tiptoeing because what's the word I'm not supposed to say? Magazine. We don't call them mags anymore.
No, we do call them mags. Clip is
Clip. That's it. Clip.
incorrect if you're being a gun nerd.
Thank you. No, there's so many gun nerds that we do
But
have on our.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like as we were saying, these guys operate in a bit of a different kind of way. The director is all about volume, and they prefer drum-shaped magazines because you can fit a lot more ammo in them, so you can put a lot more lead down range. But these guys are a bit more tactical about their operations, so they use guns. With more standard stick magazines, that's the kind of firearms that's available on the private sector, and that the military itself doesn't bother with all that much.
Exactly. Exactly. So, if we go to the next slide, you can see where. So Cybeck has his own team, and we check in back and forth with him. Duty, who does a lot of our 2D art, and Joas, who leads as art director, have worked with them to create kind of a different aspect of Morningstar culture. So, for example, right now the Directorate has, as you've seen, gyro tanks, which are these kind of giant bipedal walkers. These mercenaries will operate with something that's a lot smaller and more compact, and will also be able to interact with magnates, which you'll see in that artwork there. But we're also, one of the things that Joaz and I have been very upfront about is that our version of sci-fi is very analog, and we're existing in this term that we've coined called cassette brutalism, and that is something that you would see in a lot of the directorate let's say areas of operation, but in the Exocor as well, with that Art Deco style that you saw in the episode, showcasing what the upper class looks like. So it goes from Deco effectively to brutalism. Uh, but sci-fi industrialism, which you could say is early Star Wars aesthetic, is something that Cybec is kind of attaching onto with this computer terminal here. So you have both the analog elements, but you have kind of the beginnings of what you could call the digital age at a very early point. So just to update you all, the props are currently in production. The characters are in their concept stages, but the animation and storyboard is in work in progress. I think that's what that uh, that kind of out of focus box is showcasing, and the voice acting is done. So in 2026, we will start beginning. We will be able to start seeing more of what the Morningstar universe can look like and feel like, but through the lens of different creators. So very happy about that. And that's it from on behalf of Cyback. So I'll pass it to Happy T.
Hello, everybody. How we all doing in the community space right now? First off, nice to see you all here. Thank you for showing up to the Revshare Summit. I said this earlier in the Discord, but I hope that everybody had a wonderful set of holidays. Some time to either spend with your found families or your blood families. Either or, thank you for coming and spending some time with us. So, this section of the Revshare Summit is going to be a little different, and I want everybody to get a little scorecard next to them. Maybe with some pen and paper, or you know what, even some sticky notes on your computer. Because we are going to have quiz time. That's right, everybody. You have a one-in-a-lifetime chance to up your credit score for the year of 2025. And we are starting right now. In what month did I join the Project Morningstar team? Your answers are August, September, and October, and you have 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. If you answered September, congratulations! That is another 25 points to your credit score, delivered to you in the mail quite soon. And remember, don't lie. We'll know. But yes, I joined the team in September. I am, for those who don't know, I am the community content specialist for Project Morningstar. I have a dual role of making sure that the community management for our community on the Discord is going smoothly and nicely. And I also am in charge of creating the shorts. The shorts profiles are the shorts, the corpo shorts are are my wheelhouse per se. You've probably already seen a couple of them, and I've got good news. You're going to be seeing more. They'll be coming up in the new year, and we will be going into different groups. The next one to be announced shortly. Let's move on to question 2. All right, folks, which developer did the third team profile focus on? Your answers are Greebles, Happy Tea, Thimble, and Verify. And you have 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. If you answered Thimble, you are correct. Add another 25 points of credit score to your ledger. So, one of the things that we started doing this year was implementing a proper comm schedule for everything Project Morningstar. So this way, you wouldn't be sitting weeks wondering, "Hey, what are they doing? Is Project Morningstar still alive? Are they getting stuff done? Is everything okay?" No, we don't want you to worry about that. We want you to know that we have got activity going on. So we built in this communication schedule to fit in everything that we've been wanting to share with you guys in a timely manner. And the great news about that is that it's been allowing us to keep engagement up for these really big events, like the release of Part 3, for example. Which, if we move on to our next question, which soundboard file on the Discord was promptly made and then broken after the Hunt Part 3? Your answers are it's these Exogen are different. It's all the same. That damn audio file has been causing problems for the better part of 3 months now, and I am about to just throw it out of Dodge. So yes, these Exogen are different. That's a freebie. You can have that one for free on Directorate's honor. But yes, so the comm schedule allowed us to launch into the release of the Hunt Part 3. And the collective work that our company did towards pushing that, and the fans that came to watch it and that came to hype it, and you'll be hearing more of this from Lobster later on too, led to that video gaining 300,000 views in just 3 days. That is excellent job, everyone who came to watch that. You really knocked it out of the park there. I'm very happy, and I think I speak on behalf of the entire team when I say that without you guys, we would not be here. So please, give yourself another 10 points of credit score on us. Also, this work that goes into capitalizing onto the time after the Hunt came out, I'd like to talk about Clause 23, which was actually just mentioned earlier by Greebles in the Cybex section. That is also going to be led up to with this same comm schedule strategy. So you'll be hearing more about that once it's coming up soon. Don't worry. We've got stuff in tow for you. Next question. What was the name of the Project Morningstar community event that had the highest turnout for the year of 2025? The Glitch Animation Watch Party, the Watch Joaz Stay Up for the 11th Hour Straight Subathon, the Planet Side 2 Game Night, the Part 3 Patron Watch Party, or the Project Morningstar v Goldman Sachs Free Credit Score Check event. You have 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. If you guessed the Planet Side 2 Game Night, then congratulations, you were correct. And if you guessed the Project Morningstar v Goldman Sachs Free Credit Score Check event, I am sorry, but that doesn't actually exist. But one day, if they give me enough resources, I'll make it happen for you. I swear. What you can do, however, is watch Joe Ask to stay up for the 11th hour straight, because we have all done that many, many times. Now, this sort of goes into the community events that we started implementing once we got the comm schedule built in, is that now that we've had the chance to consistently schedule all this out, and now that we've had a little bit more leeway freed up from the other developers, we've finally been able to implement consistent community game nights and community watch parties, and finally allow some space for the Project Morningstar community to get together and just hang out with each other, just talk, just get to know each other. We love getting to see you guys speculate about our universe in the Discord channels, and we absolutely adore seeing fan fiction and other written projects come out into the Discord channels as well. We read that stuff like candy. So please don't be afraid to engage with us. The devs are always on the Discord. They're always around. If they're inside of a voice chat, then feel free to join that voice chat and talk to them. And I'm certain you can learn some really cool stuff. All right. Next question. What's next for the Project Morningstar community? A community Barricon painting competition? Greebles rewriting the index for the 5th time? 6, maybe? Finally getting a Discord server banner, surprise guests from other sci-fi communities, a life-sized Barracon showcase? The answer is maybe, maybe not, maybe yes, maybe who knows? All I can tell you is that there are a lot of opportunities and there is a lot of stuff that we want to do. And I suggest that you all tune into our Discord so that you can get a first chance heads up at what those things are going to be. Also, I'm kidding. The answer is definitely Greebles rewriting the index for the 5th time. You can have a free 30 credit score on that one. Question 6. What are we most thankful for looking back on 2025? The answer? It's you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you for consistently showing up and consistently supporting our new IP. You have no idea how much everyone on this team is touched by your support and how much it means that you put your weight behind us. That it means the world to us, truly. Also, the real Ansel Agreeable's endless well of patience. No, it's still you. And yeah, on that note, I will leave it to the next person. Thank you, everybody, for participating in our little quiz. Tally up your credit scores and send them to me. And I may or may not send you some images of Project Morningstar stuff.
All right, I'm up next. Now, I believe there may have been some updates to the slides, so you might have to reset the presentation, but otherwise we should be all good to go. Okay, yeah, the presentation needs to be reset.
Let me see if I.
Here we go. Don't worry. Da-da-da-da-da. And this is the part of the presentation you've all been waiting for. Technical difficulties.
A classic.
All right, here we go, folks. This time for realsies.
All right, so I'm sure most of you already know who I am, but to make it succinct and short, I'm Duty. I basically handle most of the 2D artwork, and I coordinate heavily with both Mr. Greebles and Joas to basically establish design direction for the universe. So we're going to straight up hop into it with the rune timers. And I picked them because, like, first off, they're going to show up in the Directorate Ledger, which is coming out soon. And second of all, it basically allows me to talk a bit more about our iterative design process and basically how we sort of settle for finding the feel of things. So for those of you who aren't familiar, the rune timers are basically the elite of the tributaries. They're the cream of the crop. They get all kinds of special equipment, all kinds of special enhancements, organoids, high-tech laser scopes, special ammo, the works, you name it. Anyways, most of you who have watched the previous Summit livestream will probably remember that fellow who is down there in the bottom right. That was an earlier concept, and everything else you see on the page are newer concepts. And you might notice that there's quite a bit of a change between those two, even though the fundamentals aren't that different. So allow me to explain why. With Morningstar, we're always constantly citing back to, the whole cassette brutalism inspiration thing. So we often look at a lot of Cold War technology and equipment to sort of establish the right feel. So what happened in this case was that I made the design, but I ultimately felt like it was a little too teched up. It didn't have any ties into actual reality, and as a result, it basically doesn't have that sort of vibe. It doesn't have that sort of, you look at this and you instantly sort of like get a feeling. So what I went and did was I went back and looked at a fair bit of Soviet Cold War body armor and sort of incorporated that into the design, and hence leading to what you see right now. But of course, we're still a sci-fi setting, so things like the weird four-eyed spider-like scope goggles things are still retained. And yeah, so look forward to seeing these guys soon, and hopefully I won't be getting to do more work for them. And onto the Barracan. So obviously they're a fan favorite, no secret there. Later on in the next year, we'll be basically having a American document sometime down the road in the same vein of the Directorate Ledger. So I'd like to basically show you a sort of little snippet of one of the things that we're going to be getting into, which is the sort of timeline of assault harnesses. Now, this is by no means comprehensive, and the artwork is extremely in progress, but it should basically offer you a little sort of taster as to, like, the historical progression of American armor and all of the different types. Now, if you would continue to the next page. So so yeah, so like for example, you see the historical stuff. There's Bedak, which was the first American, which was basically the first type of American armor that was deployed in the Virginian War. When the Barracan first appeared, and this is when they smashed Katrif. Not much to say about it. It's extremely bulky. It's frankly speaking overpowered and a little over-designed. But otherwise, it was serviceable. It crushed those filthy religio fanatics, and then basically got, I guess, for lack of a better term, turned obsolete by what came next, which is Kovanaz. Not too much to say about it there. And if you look at the far right, you'll also notice, and it's what is basically an attempt at sort of pushing Barracan aesthetics. Barracan are walking tanks. They're not exactly like, fancy mercenaries who want to like flaunt their wealth with all kinds of like absurd decorations or whatnot. So when it comes to designing a sort of visual language for adding interest to them design wise, we basically sort of settled on this sort of thing where they have these sorts of like extremely crude or like bulky armor reinforcements added, and all sorts of like sort of slightly improvised, a little sort of insane, because of course, the Barracan are insane after all. Additions like, the tank tread thing. And in the center, well, there's really not too much to say about it. I'm sure those who know do know. Next slide, please. Ah, yes. Um, on a completely coincidental note, I'm going to start talking about the Caranovan Republic. And for those of you who are aware, the Caranovans are basically the sort of dark mirror of the hegemon. They're basically a splinter group that sort of broke off in the 4th to 5th fiscal century and basically said, we'll do our own hegemon, but with blackjack and hookers. We can do it better than the wider hegemon, and we'll be truer to the manual of Doom Noah Wall as well. We're doing it. So basically, to sort of approach that, one of the key things I had to sort of grapple with, and which was challenging, was basically to sort of establish the Caranovans as being, clearly linked to the hegemon, but also directly distinct in their own way. And one of the things that we sort of looked to in order to make sure that the visual language always made sense was to sort of establish a timeline for aesthetics in the hegemon over the course of time. So, like, those of you who have seen Hunt Part 3 will sort of realize that in the space scene between the vampire space bomber and the Surrock space fighters, they had several somewhat different design languages. The vampire is very blocky, while the Surrocks are very sort of rounded and bulbous. And the reason for that is basically because things like the Surrock were created, or at least their initial designs, which were slowly upgraded over time, created in the early fiscal centuries, and that sort of was the aesthetic for a hegemon technology at the time. So if you look in the Directorate Ledger, there are also plenty of examples of similar looking things. But over time, the hegemon sort of shifted to a bit more of a smoother, more blocky aesthetic. And since the Caranovan sort of seceded from the hegemon much more earlier in its history, they sort of have retained that sort of curved styling, but have also sort of gone and pushed it in their own direction. It's a little more refined. The panels are a little bit more neatly fitted. The bolts much less frequent and a little more recessed. And all of this sort of goes together to sort of create this sort of look that you've seen here, which is also sort of a little inspired by like a lot of Japanese anime mecha design. And also to sort of add on to that, the Caranovans basically prefer quality over quantity. They're much, much smaller than Hegemon, but, they always have to stand on guard for the hegemon trying to sort of muscle its way back and gain dominance over them again. And for this reason, all of their individual units tend to be much more well armed and equipped. Like over there, you see the sort of grenadier, which is a sort of standard Carnovan line trooper, and as you can see, they're much more armored and than a tributary. And of course, what you have on the left side is a sort of like split off of the whole AMU concept. It's a sort of assault harness, and as you can see, it's basically like armed to the teeth. Not much more to say there, but just so you know, I'll be sort of like further pushing these guys in the coming year, and I hope to basically churn out a lot of like visual concepts for them. So everyone can finally have a worthy opponent to the hegemon. Next page. And of course, what better other enemy for the hegemon than the Unionists? And of course, the Karanovans are Unionists. Even your striking workers are Unionists. Everyone's a Unionist. It's a broad label. But anyways, Unionist generally conjures up the image of some scrappy worker who just finished their shift cobbling together a bunch of improvised arms equipment, maybe some black market weapons thrown in there for good measure, but generally speaking, nothing that does too much in terms of significant resistance. But of course, there are always ways to even the playing field. And that's what you have on the left. Now, switch skins were mentioned by Mr. Greebles earlier, and this is basically sort of a concept for what they look like. And as you can see, the whole idea of a person sort of bursting out of another person is completely embodied here. You have two pairs of arms, you have two pairs of eyes, you've got a sort of second face growing out of the first one, which is split in half. And yeah, like, can you believe that this thing is actually human? I certainly wouldn't. And of course, for this reason, they're basically considered, to be very repulsive to the hegemon at large, as befitting of a failed super soldier program that, ended up being illicitly distributed all over all over known space, so that the Unionists could actually put up a fight. Not too much to say there, but other than that, we'll keep on developing the concept, and I hope to see be doing a lot of cool stuff for these guys. And of course, the Uthmani, something old to contrast with all the new. So yeah, so the Uthmani are sort of, much older than the hegemon, and as a result, there's a sort of like very storied history of them. And as a result, there were certain inspirations and influences taken into consideration when when designing them. They're proud of their history, and they are not afraid to show it. And of course, one of the reasons why the hegemon is so opposed to them in the first place is because of their extremely high integration of ergoids into their society. And as you can see, every single member depicted here is highly cybernetic. Yeah. So one of the fun things to do of this faction was to sort of lean into influences that we sort of don't normally do, which in this case is primarily like of the 17th to 18th century, and there's this little bit of like, I would say, Napoleonic influence there, as you can tell by the tall hats, which, by the way, coming up with a way to justify them was certainly a sort of fun exercise into itself. So you'll notice that there are all kinds of sensors on their heads, which is why they're carrying all those like thick and hard helmets. It's basically because there are a lot of computers and sensors. They can see everything. Yeah, not too much to say about them either. Just know that we'll be doing a lot more of them in the coming year.
Alrighty. Hi everybody. My name is Chris. I also go by Algebutter, and I am a concept artist and illustrator for our lovely team. And so while I've been here for about half a year now, this is my first time officially presenting, and I just wanted to say it's a joy to meet all of y'all today. Next slide, please. So, for those of you who haven't caught me in our Discord channel, I love monsters. I love mechs, and I love to draw. I'm a big kid. That's basically all I really want to do here. And now, for those of you who have met me, I just want you to know that the art is more fun when you guys are here. The feedback so far has been great, and my job is to add texture and variety to the Morningstar universe. Hearing how you guys feel about the art really inspires me and it helps point me in the right direction when we're trying to like iron out these designs. Next slide, please. So, while I've mentioned in the past to some of you that I'll be working on the comic in the future, for now, my focus is currently being put towards illustrating our card game, the deck builder specifically. And so I've been working on that for the last little bit with Dylan, our super talented game designer. And while I'm really excited to talk about it, I want to save that for the big man himself, and you have to settle for this little teaser of our illustrations. Next slide, please. And yeah, I just wanted to keep it short and sweet. This has been some of the most fun I've had drawing all year, and I really hope that that love shows through in the work. So, in the best way possible, I can't wait to fill up Morningstar with mechs and more adorable abominations. Love you all. You'll be hearing and seeing from me soon. I'm good.
Thank you, Algie. That I very much appreciate the art that you've done for us so far, and those concepts are positively frightening. I can't wait to see them get more fleshed out. At this point, I'm going to pass the mic off to Apsel, our animation leader. You have the floor.
Hello, hello. So yeah, I'm Absol. You can also call me Evan. Either one is fine. I joined the team during the production of episode 3, and now I'm the lead animator for the mainline hunt episodes. So that means I handle more of the complex animations, things like when characters are grappling each other. And I also manage our asset pipeline from Blender to Unreal Engine. Can go to the next slide. Right. So I mean, recently, yeah, we finished episode 3, which was a huge success, and I had a lot of fun working on it. And during the process, we made a lot of improvements to our animation pipeline. And now that that's done, we're gearing up for episode 4. You can see some storyboard frames down at the bottom there. Those are from Duty. Thank you very much. You can go to the next slide. Great. So this kind of stuff is behind the scenes, but here, let's see. Can you actually just play the top one for now? There you go. So that might not look super exciting, but a huge problem area for us in episode 3 was the shoulder plates on the Barracan, because the way that our motion capture works, um, we would have to kind of go in and correct the shoulder plates almost every single frame, and it was taking a lot of time. So I went back in and adjusted the rig a little bit to make like the armor plates and those kinds of things move out of the way automatically and reduce clipping. And that ended up saving us a lot of time on the tail end of the episode. Um, and then down at the bottom there is just a little behind the scenes for what the mocap looks like as it moves through the process. Let's see. There you go. So for the Barricans, since they're so heavy, a lot of the tweaks that we do are trying to make them, look heavier, carry more mass, really swing the gun through the air. But yeah, that's all I got for that slide. Next one. Okay, and then next we are wrapping up previews for episode 4, which is super cool. We'll be starting full production soon, and obviously we can't show too much because that would spoil the entire episode. What is previs? Oh, previs is something basically like planning out the episode. So if you want to play this here, you go. So yeah, it's super bare bones, basically think of it like a storyboard or an animatic, but this is what we've been doing to block out our fight scenes. It makes it a little bit easier to do quick adjustments and, figure out where the characters are supposed to stand, which then that gives us a better reference for our mocap actors as well. Because now since this is in 3D, we can look at it from different angles and figure out where people like where things are supposed to be standing and that kind of stuff. So we have most of this done for the entirety of episode 4, and we're just starting to wrap up. And we're hoping to go into full production pretty soon, start of the new year. That's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Absol, for the sneak peek and the clarification on some of the production efforts that you work on. At this point, now I'm going to ask Zaviol to step on up. He is our additional writing liaison and the second person under Mr. Greebles who knows the lore as well as he does. So, you have the floor.
What's up, motherfuckers? So, I'm Zevel, Zavi, Scott, literally whatever the fuck you want to call me. I don't care. You may know me, you might not. I tend not to be out in front of things because I am a cranky old man. I tend to work behind the scenes. I help Greebles world build, I help with editing processes, and sometimes I'm just kind of hucked at projects to get them in step with the lore. So, for instance, we mentioned Cybek's Mercenary Legion. I gave some lore suggestions and kind of how to fit that into the wider Morningstar universe. I've been reading through some of the tabletop RPG, giving suggestions on that kind of things. But before we go on, I have a very important question for Mr. Greebles, which is, so does that noir audio drama announcement mean I can actually bring Johnny Dollar into the Morningstar universe? Can I finally do that? Is that a thing? Is that a thing I can do?
Literally never.
God fucking damn it! I will bring the man with the action-packed expense account back into the public eye. All right, fuck it. Next slide. All right, so in terms of lore, we've got a few things out this year, and we've got more stuff coming. So, for instance, from Greebles, Duty, and Joaz, you have the military-industrial triplex, and from Duty and Greebles, you've got Liar's World, and you can find both of those on the Project Morningstar website. If you would like to read them, I would suggest it. They're awesome. And on my end of things, you will soon be seeing the Five Hands Education module. That will be the in-universe, longer version of kind of the information that you might want to know about a macro corp in the Thousand Empires. The writing is done, the voiceover is done, we've got some pre-production work to go, but that should be coming out soon. You'll also be seeing a little bit from me on Stratos Industrials. That education module, I wanted to do something a little different, so I decided to go with kind of an early education module, or a supplement to an early education module, not just to showcase what Stratos Industrials is, right? Because if you really want to know, you can probably go look in the index, but I always like to take these in sort of a direction of, well, how does this fit into the universe? So for Stratos, it not only talks about that particular macrocorp, but also how the hegemon teaches young persons. Now, obviously, these aren't Baron or Magnate level, but they're still the people who are going to wind up upper middle management or maybe in charge of something. So you'll get to see a little bit of how that works. And finally, I am almost 60 pages into writing a Unionist lore expansion. I've still got some more to go on that, but we'll talk about that when we get to the next slide. Get to that slide. So, hit me with the next slide, if you please. So, the triplex and directorate ledger. Guns, explosives, military equipment. Basically, the slide says it all. Greebles, Joaz, and Duty have put together like just a trove of information about what the Thousand Empires uses to inflict violence on anyone who dares question the dictates of the Marquette. It covers everything from a K5 auto stub, which are these cheap, mass-produced, metal-stamped things used by cheap security forces and mercenary outfits, or the Aestheti, which is a beautiful gun. You see it right there. The original has been lost. The owner died in a quick draw competition, and now there are replicas kind of floating around of this S-rated weapon. Or maybe you prefer aircraft, or troop carriers, or tanks, or walking murder tanks. It's basically all in there. So if you're going to go take a look, I would highly recommend it. Next slide, please. And then we have Liar's World. Maybe you're like me. Maybe reading A Colder War scratched some weird little itch in the back of your brain you didn't even know was there. Well, Greebles and Duty have decided to present you with the Morningstar equivalent of what happens when cosmic horror is dumped in front of what is essentially the New York Stock Exchange. Certainly nothing is going to go wrong. After all, economists keep telling us we're rational actors. Or maybe not. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of market speculators would rip out a femoral artery if it meant ending the quarter in the black. I mean, preferably somebody else's femoral artery, but you do what you got to do to make the line go up. However, if you want to know what has been going on with the rogue planet parked directly near one of the most important worlds in the hegemon, go ahead and take a look. Again, it is up right now. You can read it, but I'm sure nothing goes wrong and everything is fine. All right, next slide, please. Now we're getting into some of the stuff that I am kind of working on or have been working on. So for instance, the 5 Hands education module. Have you ever wondered what's been going on with the hegemon's favorite healthcare provider slash pharmaceutical company slash alternative medicine provider slash MLM slash cult? It's basically a cult. Well, the fine folks at Wanvath were wondering the same thing and decided to undertake a little due diligence to see if they should buy, hold, or sell their interests in this macrocorp. The answer to the questions on the screen and many more will probably be contained in this education module, provided you actually have the clearance to access it. And yes, the question about why they keep buying so many grade 4 dents, well, you might find out, you might not. And next slide, if you please. And finally, we have the dossier on unionists, this thing. So I didn't really expect this to end up almost 60 pages and counting. I kind of just started writing and then it just kept going and going and going. And I still have more to add. For instance, Bowman mentioned switch skins. When it's all done, it's going to touch on all kinds of stuff. The history of Catraith and why it fell from sort of a unionist perspective rather than the perspective of the hegemon. The false promises of the Karanova Republic. Yes, the hegemon considers them unionists. However, from kind of my point of view, I kind of quibble on that definition. They're certainly not part of the hegemon, but that also kind of plays into another question, right? What makes a unionist, right? What are their different kind of philosophical outlooks? Why would you go and do this when it almost certainly means being met with, well, the directorate? And even some of the varied opinions on exogen held by unionists, right? Because unionists are not a monolithic whole, right? Some people still cleave to the idea that exogen aren't, human or people, whatever you want to call that, softened, I guess. However, some might. And, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm genuinely fascinated by unionists, right? And the concept of what can force someone to revolt in the face of the kind of unrelenting violence that macrocorps and the directorate can come to bear, right? Because you've got local security forces, millicorps, eventually the directorate, and then finally, if it actually looks like you're winning, they'll just drop the barricade on you. So what actually pushes somebody to directly revolt in the face of all of that? And I kind of wanted to take a look at that, right? From some of the planetary unrest on Copi 4, which is kind of something I made to explore that concept, to Nebraska 3, which kind of looks at the grinding horror of fighting your own brainwashed people. Because remember, if the directorate is pushed far enough, they will start minting instants, which are troopers for the Directorate, right? They're basically instantaneous soldiers. I'm sure nothing ethically ambiguous is happening with that nonsense. So again, for those of you who know me, this kind of fascination probably doesn't come as much of a surprise. And you'll find all of that in there. And for those of you who are wondering how the Unionists get their weapons, get their equipment, how you actually outfit somebody when you're trying to fight something like a local government, the Director, the Hegemon, or just a macrocorp, we'll talk about that as well. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye and thank you, and toss it over to our next speaker.
Hi guys, I'm Terry. I've just recently joined the group, and awfully happy to be here. So yeah, effectively, Greebles has brought me on to turn the characters into costumes, into wearable costumes, for all of you to become something that you always wanted to be. Well, I hope so, at least anyway. So next slide, thanks. So we started off with the Tetsudyne variation armor. I've been working with Joaz fervently to get this done over the last couple of weeks, and it's been very difficult to turn the obviously the models that they're using for animation, which are generally low poly, into a high poly version, and then obviously into directly into a costume, a wearable costume. So we're starting off with the helmet, where we, over the next couple of weeks, we will have a variation that will be fully wearable and fully printable. I'm not sure whether or not that's going to be available publicly as yet. That's still in question, but the goal is to make first of all, a life-size Barracan. So 1-to-1 scale. So my background and history is making 1-to-1 scale costumes, mostly very large ones, up to 10 foot, and make them practical and wearable. So again, I'll be working with Joaz very closely in trying to make small changes to the armors so that they are functional in the real world. Rather than just something on screen that has clipping issues and etc. So my hope is to grab all of these costumes or all these characters and eventually turn them into costumes that you can make yourself and wear at the local conventions and forward the the corporate greed. That's me in a nutshell.
Thank you for that, Terry. And I, for one, am definitely looking forward to seeing the fruits of your labor, especially if it's going to be of anywhere near the same quality as that wonderful helmet you've shown off for us today. So at this point, I'm going to give the floor over to Dilly, who has been working on our unique little card game. But I'll let him take it over from here.
Hello, everybody. Yes, so I've been developing this game for about 12 months now, and essentially it is a deck builder. If you're not familiar with what a deck builder is, it's pretty much a board game that as you play the game, you build your deck by taking certain actions. So if we just go to the next slide. All right, so just a general overview. There's a picture of the game in Tabletop Simulator, where we're currently doing the testing and the demoing. And it's essentially a two-player skirmish game where each player chooses a faction to represent. Each player chooses a faction to represent, and then those two factions pretty much fight each other. So, can you hear Lobster there? Can I just mute Lobster?
Yep,
Alright,
just did. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the two players, they each pick a faction to represent, and in this game we've got four factions, which we'll talk on after this. But the way the game works is that there's a shared market where each player has the opportunity to purchase cards and build their deck as they play. And By doing that, you can then get to deploy your units and fight, either attacking your opponent directly, attacking their units to take them out, attacking locations to gain control on them, to secure them, or by using your cards as resources to purchase other cards or activate commands. So essentially, you're using influence as an in-game currency. You're using it to buy more cards, to deploy your units, to invest in the corporations. So there are certain corporations that are available through every playthrough, different locations, different corporations, and you pretty much can invest into those corporations and take advantage of what they offer you, what those companies can do for you. And yeah, at the end of the day, you just want to destroy your opponent and win. It's an easy to learn game. It's difficult to master. There are multiple options and paths to victory. So as you play, things will change. So, you have to constantly change your strategy and adapt to what your opponent is doing and what's available on the field. Now, if we go to the next slide, I'll just touch on what each of the factions are and what their direction is. So the first faction, obviously, the most important, the hegemon. So their focus is pretty much to have more resources than you and control locations. So they manipulate locations and the control there and try and stop the opponent from controlling those locations. And they also have opportunities, like I said, to gain more resources so they can invest in corporations quicker and have access to more cards and options. Then we can go to the next slide. Then we have the mercenaries. Essentially, as you see, the Barakan are around there. And they are pretty much bloodthirsty, want to fight. They keep coming back. They're relentless. So violent and relentless, and they just want to kill and destroy, and they don't mind if they get taken out because there's more of them ready to hit the field and keep fighting. Then we can go to the next slide. Then we have the unionists. So essentially, they're trying to disrupt the supply lines. They're just trying to sabotage. They're the pain in the ass. They just want to slow things down and cause mischief. And that's how they pretty much control the field and the fighting. They hit you where it hurts in the resources. And then the last slide is the unaligned. Essentially, the Shigwe, Exogen, these guys they have a herd mentality, so strength in numbers. The more of them that are around, the better. So they protect each other, they empower each other, and they just try and keep each other alive. So yeah, the more of them that there are around, the more secure they are and the stronger they are. Now, I do testing as often as possible. I try and do it weekly, publicly. So if you guys are interested, there is a room in the Discord where you guys can join. If you have Tabletop Simulator on Steam, you can hop on and test with us. If not, you can just pop in and I'll stream it for you guys. You can have a squiz, ask questions, and yeah, I hope to see you guys in the future. Otherwise, anytime anyone wants to test, really, you can reach out to me and we can have a private test session. I just love making and playing board games, so I'll make myself available if I can. So please reach out if you want to have some fun and give some feedback on the game. And thank you to everyone who's already given lots of their time and testing. It's been a great project to work on. Thanks to all the guys who've added value, and really appreciate it and look forward to more sessions. So thank you very much. That's me.
Thank you for that, Dilly. And I definitely appreciate you working on that wonderful card game of ours. Next up, I believe we have a brief little word from Greebles here before we get into the last segment before the AMA. So you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Yes. So something to just keep in mind. We're going to be. Oh, yes, Lobster. I will unmute in just a moment. But we're getting ready to hit a really, really important part of our development. I'm going to drop it here in the Discord as well. But we need to start doing an email drive. The reason for this is so that we can get updates faster out to the community. Not everybody obviously wants to be part of a Discord or necessarily uses Discord. We have over 170,000 subscribers to our YouTube channel, which is great. But but the ability to get updates out to the community, that's the only way that we can do it is through email. So, in order to incentivize the idea of signing up for yet another email list, there will be discounts. As we start next year, this is a soft or a soft announcement. There'll be a larger one, but we will be conducting a kind of a discount campaign in order to get more people involved. One of those will be discounts for our Patreon, discounts for our merch, which is available, and there will be new designs and new products for our merch through Fourth Wall. And then of course there will be more STL opportunities from our miniature team. Finally, what product development? I'll be honest with everybody. Product development means we are going to be doing a Kickstarter. Now, what that Kickstarter is for, I will leave it to more able minds and better opinionated people to announce later. But we are going to get there. One of the things that will enable us to be able to have a successful Kickstarter is the ability to sign up people in advance, and that will further incentivize partnerships that we are working on to make the Morningstar universe more rounded and to punch above its weight class where it is right now. So yeah, I mean, if you've ever wanted to sign up for something, please follow the link. It does go to the projectmorningstar.net website. Just go to the enlist section. This has been my PSA. Message
All
me
right.
directly if you need more of a reason to sign up. All right. Thank you, Rebel.
Of course. Appreciate the PSA. Glad to have more people signing up for our email list. At this point, I am now going to unleash the lobster. And here we go. You should be unmuted.
Hey, stall for 5 minutes.
That is hilarious. All right.
Stall for 5 minutes. Why don't we answer a question from?
Yes. Let us get onto the question and answer sheet here. And I am personally having issues opening it up on my end. Is anyone else able to see the questions?
I cannot right now, but if anybody on the summit floor on the Discord side wants to help us out and ask one of their questions here, maybe we can answer. Just direct it at who you would like to answer the question. I see people typing.
Not as much as I'd like. Get those fingers working.
Yeah, I just see various typing.
It takes them a second to get their questions out. They can't instant
That's
transmission it.
That's true. That's true.
Vamp harder, guys.
Let me put it like this. If you don't type a question fast enough, I will start performing spoken word poetry.
Oh God, please ask questions.
So,
Oh, indeed. Okay, so I guess I can. Should I respond back to this one? Oh wait, are you guys accepting voice actors? I am a voice actor.
so
Don't worry about the super chats for just
Oh,
now.
okay.
Let's
I'm looking over at it. Okay. Oh, so we'll just do here. Okay. Is there a connection between Bara and the Barakan? I'm pretty sure that's redacted. But as with most redactions, therein lies the answer.
Get the black marker.
Yeah.
All
Look,
right.
something I guess I can just broadly say, much like real life, there is nuance and grades of truth, right? We know, for example, and I'm only bringing it up because I recently stopped watching Sharp's Rifles, which I highly recommend to anybody if you haven't seen it. Sean Bean doesn't die, if you're interested, and it's kind of like where he got his start. But in it, they make fun of Napoleon a lot because it's a bunch of British people fighting in the Napoleonic War. Napoleon wasn't short, but the way that history remembers him is as well. We even named a complex after him, right? But Napoleon wasn't a statistically short person for the time period. Truth is in the eye of the beholder. When you ask me a question like, is there a connection between Bara and the Barakan? I'm going to say that on paper, absolutely not. The Barakan are a weapon system designed by several macro corporations in conjunction with the early hegemon in order to fight a war of liberation against an evil, despotic, feudal empire that was probably run by cannibals. Um, Now, whether or not that's true is determined by who wrote the history. And just as Zavul said, we will start getting perspectives that are beyond the hegemon that might cast doubt on how many Katrethi monks actually were cannibals. Uh, which let's be honest, they probably were though, right? Anyway, I hope that answers your question.
Alrighty. There was also a lore question from the YouTube side of things, uh, which was a question about how the FTL system works in our universe. So I guess a general description of the outside.
Explosions.
um, how does FTL work? Okay, using exotic matter and a fission reaction, um, the cheapest and fastest way for interstellar travel is to effectively create a pseudo singularity, um, which then a ship uses to kind of springboard out of what you would call reality. But on the outside of reality is the absence of reality, just like there is matter and antimatter. And so a ship is sent into a region where there is no physics. There's nothing. It's just a vast, incomprehensible nothingness. Much like going into one of those rooms where it's a completely silent room, and if you stay there long enough, you can start like hearing the blood rush in your ears and your own heartbeat. And people have been known to go insane after I think like after like 45 minutes to an hour. Um, Imagine that. It's the absence of anything that you would comprehend as reality. And as a result of leaving reality, you can sidestep things like distance. So, what a ship does while in the outside is effectively spend all of its time trying to get back. And the only way that it can do this is if the pilot of the ship is good enough to be able to find a little bit like a red thread. I don't know how many people are into like like are you guys into like dream? You know how if you like go to sleep with like a ball of red twine, there's a chance that in the dream you will have a ball of red twine. Does anybody know about
I'm
this? I don't know
familiar
how
with the
real.
concept, but
Yeah.
I don't know the complete ins and outs of it.
Okay. Yeah. It's effectively trying to train your subconscious to like remember that it is that it's part of a greater consciousness. Anyway, we can talk about that later. Imagine interstellar travel based on it as well. You are trying the pilot using something called a rudder is trying to find a ley line or a stream of tachyons that will hopefully lead them and the ship back into reality. And when they emerge, it will be hopefully in generally the place that they need to be. Jubs,
Okay.
yes, absolutely. Lucid dreaming is an aspect of this. Carl Jung explored, I believe it's also the basis of like remote viewing. But imagine a ship that has to do that as well.
All right.
I'm also assuming Lobster is still muted.
Yes. No, Lobster's muted, but he is back. I was
Okay,
just
great.
waiting for that question to be answered, and now I will unleash the lobster. He is loose.
Welcome. I'm glad to be here at the end. I am maximizing my profits by double working here while also working at a real job. Don't tell anyone. And the worst case scenario happened where a bunch of calls came in just as I was supposed to go up, just as I kind of was afraid would happen. But hey, that's never gonna stop me from seeking profit or capital. So this has been an incredible year. You've gotten a taste of what you can expect in the future of Project Morningstar. But before we go into 2026, I think it would be great to go take a look back at 2025 because this was a remarkable year for this endeavor. Next slide. So, some theater kids had this famous song where they talked about 525,600 minutes. How do you measure that time? You do it in love. And the thing about the theater kids is they were half right. There is nothing more important than time. But who cares about love? It is such an inconsequential bullshit emotion. I'm sure many of you sci-fi fans have been checking out Plurbius. Love is just a deception by the hive mind to lure you into complacency before it makes you join it while you starve yourself to death. Sorry, a little bit of spoilers there. But the key is that this age of social media is dominated through one metric, and that is time. Time is what we are fighting for. So, next slide. So, time is the currency of success. Here are a few stats to keep you in mind. The average human lives about 79 years, which is close to 700,000 hours of lifespan that they will spend on this earth. They will waste 1/3 of that time sleeping. Jesus Christ, 1/3 of your life asleep? Someone's got to fix that. Someone's got to go knock on the door to God's design and say, hey, man, you kind of messed up with that. So much time wasted, so much time, most importantly, not spent consuming Project Morningstar. Millions of hours wasted by consumers on non-Morningstar activities, and that is what I am here. That is my ultimate goal, to make sure that we have that time filled with Morningstar. Because we are not just competing against sleep, we are competing against eating, we are competing against time spent with loved ones, and until we hit that vector of consuming multiple hundreds of human lifespans, I will not be happy. So there was a great quote from Alexander the Great. There are so many worlds that I have not yet conquered even one. That is the tragedy of his life, but I don't give a crap about conquering worlds. I want lifespans. I want human lifespans, 700,000 hours on our analytics. That is how you measure success. Next slide. And Happy Tea, Steven, kick it. You won't be able to hear this on Patreon, but hopefully you'll all be able to hear it on the YouTube.
Yes, sir.
So, this has been an incredible year. Project Morningstar, The Hunt, the long-awaited third chapter of this celebrated series, launched on YouTube to great success. Next slide. So as you can see, this is the lifetime stats of the entire watch time of the Project Morningstar channel, and we have consumed 1/3 of one human life. One life has been conquered. One person's worth of their entire lifespan has been spent watching our YouTube channel, and I hope into 2026 that we double, triple that number, because I will not be happy. Just like Alexander the Great wanted to conquer the world, I want to conquer your lifespan. Next slide. So as you can see, here are some basic stats taking you behind the scenes of our back end. The episode 3 of The Hunt has over 500,000 views. and 33K hours of watch time and 10,000 subscribers just from it. It was a huge moment of pivotal growth as the team showcased everything that we had learned, building upon it, and that reaped rewards in the ever so important algorithm. As you can see, you always want the line can only go up. It must be green, and or else you will stagnate and die. So next slide. And with the development, we created a cross synergy, gaining 33,000 new YouTube subscribers. We were stuck at 140, but thanks to the collection of great content, a fantastic strategy, cross synergy between the 3 episodes connected via view cards, we were able to buff it up and create a perpetual growth cycle of new incoming people subscribing to the Project Morningstar YouTube channel, which as of right now is probably our most important vector of getting the word of the hegemon out. This is our flagship platform and probably the most important ones, but they are all important. But the 33K new YouTube subscribers, that is the key. That is what is our greatest victory for this year, outside of the incredible money spent on models and fun and friendship among teammates and community members. But 33K subscribers, that's what drives the lifeblood of this empire. Next slide. Now, this is the most important thing. There is a very infamous, probably the top of the heap of influencers. I've been asked not to name him. He does not need our help. But an employee manual for his empire leaked out, and using some unionists who I bribed, I was able to get a hold of this manual. And in this manual, he talks about the single key to dominating all social media. That is the golden curve. Now, what is the golden curve? The golden curve is the curve of watch time. The ultimate goal of creating content is to have 100% watch time throughout the entire content and not have them leave or have any sort of interruptions. If they pause, it's boring. If they look away, it's boring. You must keep the eyes sated. So you want the 100% curve is not possible, even through this unnamed super magnet of social media. Even with all his resources and money, he cannot achieve the 100% curve. But what you want is that pattern of where it stays consistent and doesn't go down, and you have over 50% people watching to the end of the video. So as you can see, this is the curve for Morningstar Episode 3, The Hunt. It is a 43% curve. We are so close to achieving that optimal curve of 100% satisfaction and engagement. So it just goes to show you that high concept sci-fi creative violence and having super soldiers with claymores embedded on their chest is the key to winning this war. It is the key to the future. So thank you so much for all of you who watched and helped us maintain this golden curve. We are just a few percentage points close to that infinite perfection to utilize the tools of today to ensure that we have many more tomorrows in the future. Next slide. So, a big thank you. One of the biggest things that helped drive the support of Episode 3 was hands down the use of the new hype mechanic on YouTube. So YouTube has a super like button where on YouTube mobile, every new release from a channel between 500K to 500 subscribers has the option to be hyped up and allows it to have a greater visibility. So we had a very aggressive hype campaign. I was out in the streets asking children on basketball courts, asking old people, asking people in food marts. This is real. This actually did happen. Asking them to donate their hypes. You helped. I helped. It was an incredible, massive effort, and you can see from the stats here, we had nearly 1 million hype points and 5.2K individual hypes, which pushed us not past the top 90, not past the top 80, not the top 70, but in the top 50, peaking between 38 and 36 of the top 100 United States leaderboard, the most important leaderboard of all social media on YouTube. An incredible achievement. very difficult, especially for a channel of our size, which is a little bit bigger than the typical channels that have a little bit of a boosted hype. But thank you everyone who hyped it and made it possible. So, next slide. So as you can see, 33K new subscribers, a beautiful number, huge. It's even more now since I took that stat a few days ago, but we are 174K subscribers on the YouTube. We are getting close to getting to the beautiful 200K, but you know, that's the thing. Once you hit a number, you got to hit a higher number. Always more profit, always continuing to work forward. Next slide. So, the hegemon grows, it expands. Profit must always be seek, and we have expanded to TikTok and X to grow the influence amongst younger people. As you can see, we have hit the X running. We have 1,332 followers. We are officially verified, and X is starving for new sci-fi, high concept, military, sci-fi, dark dystopian content. So it is fantastic. We will take a look at some of the numbers to see how much our X content has been proliferating. Next slide. Now, the Morningstar TikTok is no slouch either. Special thank you to Happy T, Steven, for getting that kicked off with a variety of high-quality lore content, but we've also been posting clips. As you can see here, we've been getting numbers. Some of them have gone very viral with 180K views. Next slide. Yes, you can see here the 5-Hand Panaceuticals did very well. It has done well on YouTube. It did extremely well on TikTok, helping to bolster us past the 1,000 followers to an amount that continues to grow. And you can also see a few other action clips have also done very, very well. Next slide. Now, as you can see, this is the graph of impressions. You can see we have a 13% engagement rate, nearly 8K likes, getting close to maybe even being monetized, but 200,000 impressions is very impressive for a new brand that is just making its debut on X. So thank you to everyone who discovered us on X. And remember, always engage with the content. Next slide. And as you can see, it has also been a banner year for the Instagram, where we have been making sure to update all of our concept art that is releasable to showcase you the ongoings of the Hegemon. We've increased by at least 3K followers. So there is also a hunger for more stuff on Instagram, and the Instagram reach has been very impressive. Next slide. 1.5 million views. As you can see, it peaked specifically in October with the release, but the reach has been incredible, and the fact that so many people are watching us on Instagram or seeing our content just goes to show how important it is to showcase science fiction artwork and military sci-fi. So, next slide. And probably the other second pillar, most important pillar outside of YouTube, is the launch of the Project Morningstar website. This is the central hub that you will hopefully be going if you want to get more in depth in the lore. We have the 400-page index. We also have comics. We have the mailing list. You can sign up there. This is will be the central hub upon which our empire will be built to have our own unique space that is not defined by the algorithms of the macro conglomerates that exist today. So interacting with the website is super important. If you want lore, that is the place to go. If you want to read comics, that is the place to go. And we have some incredible stats behind the launch of our website. Next slide. So we have had nearly 90,000 people coming to view our website. Very impressive 50% bounce rate, which means that people who are going there are actually reading. They are going to multiple pages. And within the 90,000 views has been at least close to 20K individual visitors. So we are pushing people to the site via our social medias, via our initiatives, always encouraging people to learn more because this is the central hub that you have to be on. So, of course, enlist, get your updates, and always be checking the Project Morningstar website there is a timeline, there is the index, there is everything there that you would possibly want to know. If you want to get deep into this universe, that is the place where the tastiest lore will always remain. Next slide. So you can see this graph. This site officially launched in April. Had some pretty decent viewership, people interested as we were pushing it, but then it grew exponentially in October as the hunt did the heavy lifting, growing the presence of the website and ensuring that we had a fantastic traffic. Who knows? Maybe we should even put some Google ads on it. Maybe that would destroy it. But the website is our flagship. If the YouTube is the capital class destroyer, the website is our flagship command ship, following instead, taking up all the grunts, and where the true machinations of our macro corps and world domination and life-stealing plans are all held within. Next slide. Now, one of the big achievements this year has been the launch of our official merch line on Fourth Wall. There are many print-on-demand services, and as you can also see, we have a sale going on. So if you've not gotten your official merchandise, you can get it now for 10% off. Buy it. Buy it now. Thank you to everyone who has purchased so far. Fourth Wall has incredible integrations with many social media platforms, as well as YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. That's one of the main reasons we went with them. They've been super easy to work with. It's incredible how easy it is to get new designs prototyped and live within minutes. They are a great collaborator as we have people show their love of the Hedramon and the work that has been put in this project. So please take advantage of that sale and suggest new designs that you'd like to see. What would you like to buy? What shirts would you like to have? What characters or designs do you want to wear? Because ultimately, we need you on foot soldiers. We need you to be in the mall, at the movie theater, at the dining place, wearing these shirts, wearing these designs, asking people, getting people to think, hey, what's that? I've never seen that before. And then you can tell them, go to projectmorningstar.net. Next slide. Now, it has been a tremendous year of growth, but Blue Sky, they don't believe in greed as much as the other websites. But hey, we have 30 more people on Blue Sky. That's great. They're doing well. We always love the people of Blue Sky. They'll overflow. They'll battle against the forces of capitalism one of these days. But thank you to the Blue Sky people for supporting us, and growth is always growth. So the number can always go up. And next slide. So this is another thing I'm very proud of. It is the Reddit community. When I took it over, it only had like around a little less than 200. Now we have 1.1 followers. Now Reddit is a often slept upon source of online media, but it is one of the most important building an engaged Reddit community. Of course, I want to see more user-generated content there, but to see people engage with all the art that comes out, and the fact that people are steadily growing the subreddit is a tremendous achievement. And as you can see, with 30K views, it does pay off. It does grow, and it does get more people engaged with it, because a lot of people spend time on Reddit. It is not my favorite social media platform. To me, it is the Craigslist, this kind of archaic design that is like intentionally made ugly, but people still go there. I go to Reddit. I'm sure you go to Reddit. So remember, always go check out the Morningstar Reddit when you are looking for tech tips or how to design or clean up things, and become an engaged member. And most of all, start making memes. Throw the memes, the Discord memes on the Reddit. I want to see them. I am the God Overlord who approves all content there, so it will probably be make my pass, and I'm usually pretty generous. So thank you so much for all the people who supported us and made the line go up on Reddit. Next slide. So, as always, I would like to invoke the spirit of Stanley Tucci from my personal favorite moment of Transformers 4 Age of Extinction, where he slaps a monitor and screams, "Algorithms, math! Algorithms, math!" So I remember, if you want to make Stanley Tucci happy, you need to like, comment, subscribe, like, comment, subscribe, like, comment, subscribe. This is what you need to make happen if you'd like to actually engage with people. This is the avatar. You need to engage with our stuff because when you write comments, when you like it, and when you subscribe, that is what tells the machine that you are spending time with us, which makes it easier for our content to reach your feeds and ultimately promotes it to other people. So please remember, hit those likes, comment, and subscribe, and engage with that content, and let the algorithms and math help dictate as we take on the role of Alexander the Great in terms of consuming as many lives on this planet with the Project Morningstar content as possible. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, Lobster, for your closing remarks. I was not expecting half of what was said there, but hey, you know
I
what?
learned
am
so much.
loving
I
it.
like Lobster's God. Something about it's just like
Let him fucking do it. Just let him do it. You're not gonna stop him.
yeah. Okay.
Now, at
Look,
this
you
point in
need to
time,
start building a compound.
all right, all right. At this point in time, I will say that our general presentation of both what we've been working on and what we plan to work on for next year has concluded, but that is not the end of your participation. Lobster and Tao, if you guys could do me the favor of resending the links to those Google Forms in the chats, and if we can get that pinned on the YouTube side of things, that'd be great too.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
I see Ian beat me to the punch on that one. But at this point, we're just going to give you guys a little bit of time to get some questions in as we go through. I think there was a couple of super chats that were given on the YouTube side that were questions in origin.
Yes.
And we can begin answering the questions. So,
The first
T,
super
you mind,
chat.
oh,
The first super chat was, here's a question. Do you need someone to talk Bracken tactics? Some chooms of mine and I are willing to talk shop.
Yes. So we are always we are always looking for new ideas and new inspirations for expanding our universe. In that case, I would recommend going to our website and from there joining our Discord. While we, as you've previously seen from Lobster, are in many different places, the Discord is by and large our most viewed platform for engagement with the developers. So if you would join through the Morningstar website, and while you're there, if you'd also mind signing up for the newsletter, that'd be great. But getting onto our Discord from there, we have a voice actor channel as well as a couple other channels to talk shop about tactics, whatever your particular faction is, just a place to hang out and chat. Loads of different areas for you to explore and ask questions and receive answers outside of this AMA section. I believe there was one other super chat we had received at that point.
And thank you for the Shadowrun reference.
Of course.
So
was there another super chat?
Yes, the other super chat was actually, you know what? You already answered a little bit of it. It was mainly, are you guys accepting voice actors? I am a voice actor.
Yes. As I made reference to, we do have a voice actor channel in there. So when we are looking for voice acting talent, that is one of the first places we reach out to before doing a general call across social media. So if you want the best likelihood of potentially getting your voice into our project, I would recommend joining our Discord. So at this point, Lobster, I believe you have access to the full scope of the answer form. Do we have any questions that have been submitted there at this point?
God, yes. We've got so many questions. Let's
all right.
start at the top.
Well, hold on one second. Do just want to state we aren't looking to keep this section too long here. We'll get through as many as we can, but we're looking to wrap up in about 20 minutes to a half hour at the latest. Just giving you guys here in the chat a heads up on that. All right, let's hit it.
And always, if you want to super chat more, no one's going to stop you. That'll give you priority. Blank asks, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth when answering all questions?
Absolutely the fuck not.
That is a very interesting question, and telling the truth is a very, it's a very primal part of humanity, and the truth is always something that people want. Okay, next question.
I'm gonna
Good
tell.
pivot.
Wait,
Wow.
just so we're clear, I'm gonna tell the truth. What the hell? Like, Jesus
I'm
Christ! What is?
messing with you. I'm messing with y'all.
Okay,
But
all
yeah,
right.
so yeah, we will be as accurate as possible, but do keep in mind we want to keep some cards close to our chest for future surprises. If we do not directly answer your question, it does not mean we are actively lying to you. It just means that we want to do a bigger reveal later.
Also, where's the fun in not messing around with the community a bit? Now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
course.
like my
Urwork
entire
Nock-
job.
Urwork Knox says, I love the deck building Morningstar is creating and playtesting it frequently. Is there a rough estimate of when there will be a physical product available?
So I'll answer that one. There is definitely plans to make a physical game. I mean, physical board games, those are the best. I can't give a timeline right now, but if you want to get a taste of it, like I said, you can join us for testing or viewing the game when we test, if you have Tabletop Simulator on Steam, or if you're around on testing days.
And
Alrighty.
Random Magnet asks, as your non-local magnet, I have a question regarding unionist suppression methods.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, all right.
wait,
Okay.
is that a question?
I don't think
question-
that's an actual question.
Well, the question is basically what are some local what are some examples of unionist suppression methods in universe? It was
So,
Guns.
I
Yeah.
mean, okay, so the best place to go to see like direct examples would be the second issue of the comic available on the website. Um, I'll just be cursory. The hegemon is not really a government. It's a collection of governments working together. So a planet could have two or to as many nations as necessary. As much as a star system could be governed by a single government, or excuse me, yeah, could be governed by a single nation. So what is important is that the hegemon has membership, right? There are member states, and all of them meet together and determine what's best for the economy on the summit council. So, but if you've got like, so to kind of just give a very quick example, if a country, let's say, let's say it's one of the Kanta worlds, right? That has like, let's say, like an ongoing protest because I don't know, they've started charging for water, right? The macro corporation that's responsible for that work site has to be in compliance with the local government. They don't necessarily have to like worry about like sending word back to the summit council for something like this, right? Um, if if you've got a problem with paying for water, and you start like meeting with a bunch of your fellow laborers and wondering how you can get water, that's definitely like a macro corp issue, right? But if the macro corporation, like let's say you and your buddies stop working for whatever reason, well, now you're affecting the economy. So the macro corporation will send in security forces to figure out what's going on and how can they sort out this work related issue. If that work related issue exacerbates and becomes you and your buddies take over the facility and start protesting and saying we demand water, then the government will probably get involved. And if you, for whatever reason, are able to overthrow the local government because you guys wanted water so badly, but you're not doing your jobs, well, that might end up becoming a hegemon issue. And if it becomes a hegemon issue, you're going to get the directorate. And if the directorate, for whatever reason, can't get you to go back to work and, you know, acquiesce to your contract, then at the very end of the rainbow would be the Barracan.
Yeah, I would also like from I guess kind of like my standpoint on how that kind of works for at least unionist suppression. And obviously, your first line is going to be propaganda, right? If you don't know or you don't think about the option about the idea that you can push back, well then, that drops your ability or other people's ability to even think about the possibility that maybe you should be protesting. And then from there, right, um, you do start getting into other things, right? Greebles mentions, yeah, you have local governments and the macrocorps are in compliance, but of course that's a push and pull, give and take situation, right? Um, your local government is probably also heavily sponsored by a macro corp, or at least want to be friendly with them because they can bring in jobs, they can bring in money, they can bring in resources. Um, so often whatever the macro corp happens to want, say, maybe they want a 12-hour workday or a 40 or a 13-hour workday, whatever they happen to want, right? You have the lobbyists that push for that. So that's another way of dealing with kind of worker suppression is you basically have this kind of hand-in-hand relationship so very often with your local governments or your nation states, your member states, and the macro corps that have the most influence in that area.
Okay. I hope that has answered your question about unionist suppression methods. I do
Here's
want to take the moment. Yeah, yes, Lobster.
here is another question that
Oh,
I think
hold
is
on. Actually,
oh, yeah,
sorry,
go
real quick then. Just wanted to address. We did get another super chat during that. Thank you for the $20, Lieutenant Volkov, for for trusting in greed. Trust
Woo!
us
Trust
with
and
your greed.
greed.
Hell yes. Alrighty. Now, next question, Lobster.
any plans for higher patron tiers?
That's a great
Ah,
question.
yes.
Yes, we are in the new year. We will be launching a magnate level support on the Patreon. We are going to be providing that at discount with an emphasis of considering instead of month to month, do a 8 to 12 month window. But yes, this helps us directly. It will also sign you up immediately for Kickstarter tiers. So yes, there's the answer to that question.
What miniature creators modeled the Barracan Hunter Squad and the Shigway?
Do we have Loken here? Loken's not here. Um, okay. Well, I guess so. Okay. So one of the members of our team, Loken, who manages all of our miniature or our sculptor relationships, uh, is not here right now. Um, the Barakan and Shigwe were done by two different people. I don't know what their shop names are, but we can post those. I know them on a personal basis, and I don't want to share their names here. Um, but currently, we have one in-house miniature, or I would say the like more army-based miniature sculptor, which is that evil one. And they are well. I'll just say here they are currently in the middle of coming up with like a second run of both our Barakan and Shigwe. But we will get we'll get the artists' official links put up. That's a great question. I don't want to step on Loken's toes.
And are there Felser X asks, are there any plans for a full length novel?
Yes, another novel outside of the index.
Yeah, okay. So every time I start writing a short story, it ends up turning into a novella. I'm happy to say that All Notables Part Two will be out before the New Year's, and so that will mean that I think in total that is upwards of 250 pages. So that will be a short novel, but yes. In fact, something that I'll just say right now, the first approachable narrative, something that's not more world building oriented, is currently in the works. And again, I think I've said it a couple times. Definitely read the comic that is on the website, as it gives the most insight to the franchise's kind of first personal. Let's call it like a personable narrative.
Alrighty.
Good. And so next we have, what are the daily non-combat activities of the Barracan, if they have any?
Ooh, ooh, this is fun. So okay, it kind
Pinochle?
of guess it kind of depends on where you are. Um, Greebles, just start screaming at me if I start talking too much, but unlike a lot of people, or pretty much every person that kind of wanders around in the outside, the Barracan don't really suffer from the same ill effects of unshielded exposure to the outside, where usually it's just you start slowly going insane as reality crumbles around you. The Barracan kind of don't. And they, in fact, have relatively long term installations set up in the outside. And part of the reason for this is I won't go into this too far, but Barracan are built broken. Um, they are basically built to be constantly violently overstimulated. And part of the reason they are so violently ruthless is they want to go home because it's quiet. It is finally quiet in the outside. So if you actually watch the Barracan, if you could watch the Barracan in these outside installations, um, they are basically very passive, almost non-violent. Like their behavior is suddenly much more containable, much less psychotic. And honestly, if you're asking in terms of just, hey, what do they kind of like to do? Well, they sometimes actually do like to just gather in groups and stare at the unshielded outside for long periods of time. It's relaxing.
Uh, Colix the
All right.
Unionist asks, when can we expect Project Morningstar to make Duomo Usilian bucks? Make it.
Duomo. Well, oh god, I can't even figure out how he managed that. But yeah, uh, when do we start making that fuck you money? Fair enough.
I really do think that this year's going to be a really good. I think this year's going to be really good for us. We've really invested in. I know that somebody sent a question earlier on that was saying questioning, like, do we think that we're stretched too thin? Um, uh, we're not. We're doing something that's really that's typically speaking, you want to start with a single product, right? Like that's what every economist or business outlook is going to say. You want to start with one thing and prove to everybody that you can do that one thing. We're not doing that. That's probably because the majority of us up here have some form of ADHD. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to emphasize is the fact that, if you look at Marvel or DC or any of the major the major franchises that are out there, none of them look at the product that they're creating like it's a one-off, right? What they do is that they treat it like it's going to be a success. So so instead of just coming from one position where we started off with the animation is a great first introduction to the idea. But in order to keep you around, to keep you engaged, we had to come up with the index. The index shows you why why we're deserving of of more than just a cursory interest. But then after that, we also have to make sure that we're also developing stories, and that's where where Zavul comes in, or how we're going to have multiple factions, which is where Joaz and Duty are, and so on and so forth. There has to be a multi-tiered approach. Otherwise, we just won't grow that quickly if we're just relying on a single product. So I think that we are trying to do something very complicated, that is tackle a franchise construction project rather than just focus on like a single avenue.
Very
Sorry,
well
Goodness.
said.
I don't know if that was yeah, but yeah, I think that's the answer.
Yeah.
Any plans on releasing the Barakan dialect guide so I can understand them? I think so, you mentioned that you're working on the Barakan dialect during the presentation, right?
Yes, I am working on. Yes, that will be after the Shigwe.
I am
And
excited about being able to start yelling at people in Uttar.
Yes.
just to do one little bit of clarification in case they didn't catch the start of the stream, where will that guide and the Shigwe lexicon guide be like posted in? Like what product contains them?
Oh, I think as of right now, entirely on the website with new additions as we go.
Okay. So then, to that particular question asker, just keep an eye on the website, and while you're there, also sign up for the email list. But that way, we can keep you apprised of when we actually get those lexicons out.
Yeah.
Anonymous asks, is there a need for a miniatures wargame rule set?
Is there a need for it?
Yes.
I-
The answer is yes.
Yeah, I mean, we're making
Nope.
a whole
The
bunch of
answer is
mini.
yes. The answer is
All right.
yes.
Okay.
So come to the Patreon, bring your rule set, give ways to help us make people fight the little figurines. Fire Warrior 22 asks, any updates on the physical version of the comic?
Oh, great question. Yes, definitely sign up for the email because we will be continuing to. Yes, that's the short. Yes, there will be a physical version of the comic. What will make it stand apart from just the digital is that actually this involves Duty. Duty has had a lot of schematics that he has made over the course of the year, so will add things like the Ascaran, um, the a much more detailed view of the Ascaran backstory, explanations of the Hexatica system and what it is, and so on and so forth. So yes, there will be a physical copy, and the physical copy will be absolutely worth it as opposed to the digital download.
Freedom Fiend asks, are there any plans to include lore that suggests the Shigwe migration or unions are not as morally noble as they seem? Or it seems to be a little ambiguity on who's good and evil so far. Or there seems to be little ambiguity on who's good and evil so far.
Okay, so I'm not going to. There are definitely okay. Looking at the Morningstar universe, there's going to be a perspective of like someone who is, by our standards, morally good or morally bad. There are going to be things that make you uncomfortable for every single faction. There are also going to be things that make you align with a faction and make you want them to be your champions. I'm not going to say something that I would consider, especially at this stage, to be foolish, which would be to like say, well, these are definitely the good guys and these are definitely the bad guys. I don't. There is too much nuance and too much layers of meaning for Morningstar for things to be that plain, and I don't think it would be a benefit or really, honestly, an interest to anybody if it was just like, these are your like noble bright guys and these are your like crusty evil.
Yeah,
Um,
much as I think
yeah.
the Shigwe are cool, they do sort of kind of have that uh race in the migration that just
Oh, the
kind
Kogi.
of
Yeah.
eats the old and the young, and that's just kind of tolerated. So, I mean, in terms of of just like, oh, the Shigwe are perfect and wonderful. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, here's the migration, and here are jackals. Yes, we do allow them on the ships.
Yeah, so yes, exactly. So there's going to be things that would make like if you wanted to live amongst the Shigwe, there are going to be things that would make living amongst the Shigwe very frightening. And just as Abdul said, the rampaging like packs of hyena that if you can't defend yourself properly from them, they will eat you is a totally like is an aspect of their society that is completely respected. Um, and there you go.
This is a little bit of an esoteric question. Rel asks, if things can disappear in the outside forever, that means matter and energy can be destroyed. Does that mean matter can be created? I read of the few things that can create energy and propel motion energy. But what about matter being made from nothing?
Great question, actually. It's a great question.
That's a
Okay,
chonker. Damn.
so the best way for me to respond to this is imagine that you are a tab of Alka-Seltzer, and we take that Alka-Seltzer and we put you into a glass of sparkling water. You are going to aggressively dissolve, but if I dehydrate the glass, I can kind of put you back together as an Alka-Seltzer tab. Whether you are the same and whether the properties can maintain themselves through that reconstitution is it's a little bit like, what is it, the ship of Theseus? It's you can matter can cease to exist, matter can change, and matter can be created based off of the interactions that somebody can have with the outside. However, coming back into reality, you will have to obey the rules of physics, and that is a layered cake response. Don't take that response as one answer. That is answering several parts of that question.
Right. Before we continue, just want to have a quick question. How are we looking in terms of the amount of questions we have left on that form?
At least 15, give or take.
Oh wow.
Okay. I say we can probably get
Speed it up?
through. I'd say we can, if we speed it up, we can get through them. But otherwise, if we want to keep answering them as thoroughly as we have been, we could probably get through like 5, and then we'll have to answer the rest off screen.
All right. So do you want to do a blitz round? Keep the responses down to like 40 seconds.
Yes. Okay, fine.
How old is the Wei Kang logocracy? I remember it being mentioned that they are older than the hegemon.
Yes, they are.
I was wanting to ask about the deep forges and tech revolving around it in general for this idea. How do they combat time dilation? Not only are they example of space travel or planetary orbitational habitation around different gravities. I'm writing a short story and an entry for the contest, and it was a goal is be as close to the lore as for this topic. And I want to throw in some products for this area of the market since the index is a few paragraphs at best. I'm asking in case you have or have not interpreted your lore, so there isn't conflict with it, or maybe a few tidbits about the chatback as a sprinkling. Happy Revshare and happy first fiscal millennium.
Holy crap.
Oh, wow. Okay. The short answer to that is all entries. Okay, we openly invite creators to participate with the Morningstar universe. Any competitions and call to actions that we have, if your idea is like if it works, if aspects of it don't fit with the growing understanding of what is canon, we will work with creators to make it canon. We're not going to just say, "Oh, I I have a personal dislike of time travel, for example." But if you figure out how to do time travel in a cool way, let's talk about it. I hope that answers the question.
Is there a connection between Barakan and Kathrathi god Bahara?
I think we touched on that. It was like the first super chat we answered.
Okay.
They both start with B, so yes.
It is rumored that the Ultimate League and Ascara communality are forming a prosperity sphere. Any comment on that?
Yes.
How is progress or non-OPR miniatures game coming along?
It progresses and will be accelerated by tenfold in the coming months.
Will there be more lore about the infrastructure and architecture of the hegemon?
Joaz, are you there?
Oh, I'm dying to develop some more of that visually. We have outlines written out but I want to get that stuff illustrated out to you, like with big scenes and renders. Could get a few wallpapers out of that.
Cool.
Pick questions to answer in this following at your leisure. Is there some connection between Singkent and Alcarest? Why is the 73rd Division of the Bracken Securus so suspicious? Can more striders mature into Longhorns? Is the maturation of yearlings strictly linear? i.e., you must have as many years old to reach War Strider status, etc.
It's like 3 questions. Okay.
You pick one and to answer that.
What was this? Okay.
Why is I have to do this one? Why is the 73rd Division of the Barracan Securus so suspicious?
Because they are painted black.
Okay, there you go. Black is suspicious.
Okay, now hold the fuck on.
These are big non-answers.
I was gonna say maybe the Hegemon operates off of orc rules. Do the red Barracan go faster too?
No. Okay. Why are they suspicious? Okay. To the majority of the people that even understand what Barracan are, they're like disturbing because they're psychopaths that are given the capabilities of a vehicle and then given space PCP. So that's already like disturbing. When you find out that some of them are able to maintain coherent conversations and be not insane, that should be even more unsettling because that means that at some point there is a measure of control that's factoring into how the Barracan operate. Once you realize that something like an Ascaran can exist, who can have independent operations and does not work with the other Barracan, any rational human being should be terrified that these things are running around with their own objectives, securing their own, going after their own targets of opportunity. The Securus are an evolution out of a group of Barracan that attacked a different point of Catraith during the fall of the Regenium, and were accomplishing a task that had nothing to do with abducting the Empress and bringing her into the outside. That should be alarming to everybody.
Okay, there we go.
Has the development team thought about creating Bracken or Shigway plushes for merch?
Yes.
How many Bracken are there out in the Hegemon?
Their Barracan are not limited in size in terms of how many there are. However, they are used frequently, so there is always a need for more.
I made some fan works. What are some needs for it possible to be canon?
It depends on what it is. Definitely engage with us on the Discord.
How
Yep.
do Dawn Trader? Oh, sorry.
No, go for it. Keep going.
How do Dawn Traders obtain their position, i.e., hereditary, like the clans, merit-based, etc.?
A combination of both. As with all things in the hegemon, nepotism can only get you a certain get you as far as it will. Right? You are born into debt, and the hegemon is very much a meritocracy. That meritocracy is measured on your ability to handle your debt. So if you are particularly good at your job and you make a lot of money, how you make that money is what determines your value.
A common discussion I see on the Discord is what counts as unionists. After all, they range from people asking for better conditions to states like the Caranova and fanatic remnants like the Castrathi. Care to weigh in?
Yes. Okay.
Ooh,
So
ooh, ooh.
yeah. That's you.
Okay. Um. Okay. Okay. At its core, at least in my opinion, Greebles, you can argue with me on this if you want, and you'll probably win. But at its core, a unionist is whatever the hegemon says it is. So, are the Caranovans unionists? Of course they are, because they're not following the dictates of the hegemon, even though they are functionally near identical to the hegemon with a few flavor differences. Are the Escola people unionists? Of course they are, because they are refusing to engage in avarice and have sort of kind of set up to blow themselves all to kingdom come should the hegemon try and force them into commerce. Uh, it's literally a question of, like, well, what basically serves a macrocorp's interest in calling someone a unionist? Now, obviously, there are going to be things that are closer to that mark, so like if you are actively fighting for better working conditions and maybe like not being beaten every single time you miss a quota, yeah, you're fucking unionist. Are you a weird narco baron society that thinks that they're doing the hegemon better than the hegemon and are closer to Domnus Olaus' teachings? Well, you're fucking unionist too. So it's something I'm going to like kind of explore a little bit as I'm writing this, but I hope that sort of answers your question.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just to tag on, but yeah, I would agree with Zavul. Um, being a member of New Mankind is not like a specific thing. You have to be able to comprehend avarice. You have to be able to engage in commerce in a meaningful way. But then there's also a level of aestheticism that also comes into it. If you are a branch of the human species that evolved to, I don't know, have a tail and, I don't know, koala thumb hands, someone in the hegemon might be like, "That's disgusting. You're a filthy, like mutant. Your branch of humanity has strayed too far from what it means to be us." However, if you figured out, I don't know, some kind of money machine that you can just keep hitting, they might make an exception. So it's very much how much you can make the argument for yourself or for your people, as well as how the rest of hegemon society reacts to you. On the same note, you could be declared a unionist if you have something that you're not willing to trade because the person that wants it doesn't want to deal with you anymore. So
There we
it's
fucking go. Yes.
yeah.
Alrighty.
What was the last question I was left off of? Are the Muppet canon in Morningstar?
No.
The Muppets
Tabletop?
like Kermit and the others?
Yes.
It's
Hard.
spelled Muppete. That's I assume that's like the Muppet Muppets.
Yes. I have strong opinions about the Muppets.
All right, tabletop question mark.
Yes. We will.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
You guys have plans to make articulated action figures.
Oh.
I keep
like a G.I.
arguing
Joe
that we should do
That,
like Barricade Gunpla, but that's just me.
oh, I hadn't thought of it.
That's something we can look into.
The index mentions that the Shigwe were able to trade with humans on the frontier. How do they communicate? Are there humans who understand Shieli?
That
Ah.
will be. That will be made way. We'll launch the lexicon today, so that can answer that question.
Okay.
What are the plans for the Trathi Regenum in lore, art, and other projects?
I won't speak for.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to you go for that.
Yeah, yeah, I've been working on some concepts on the side for them. Um, I'm sort of stepping back and drawing from like a sort of wider range of influences, some of them a little more obscure and less sort of seen in popular media, to make them a sort of bit more interesting and esoteric, and I hope that works out.
All right.
Lore wise, the remnant, as it's known, the remnant is still is trying to figure out how to punch the hegemon back. But they themselves are not a monolith. They have several objectives, and they don't necessarily agree with one another anymore. Just if anybody's a newcomer, the Catrathi or the Corti are also superhuman or post-human. They are what I would say is more in line with what the aesthetics of what somebody would consider a superhuman. They are at least in their own opinion, they are more beautiful. They are more and more noble than what you would expect. I still wouldn't say them that they're good guys by any chance of the word, but definitely look at the comic book to see one in action.
Okay.
That is all the questions.
Oh wow, we did it!
Hey, all right. Amazing work on the
Revshare
lightning round,
miracle.
everyone. Such is the beauty of Revshare. But at this point, would like to take the quick second just to say thank you to everyone, both here on Discord and on YouTube, for coming out today to listen to us ramble on about all of our wonderful little things we're working on here. And for those who have watched what we are all about and want to know more, by all means, hop onto the website, projectmorningstar.net, to get a huge amount of information across the entire breadth of our IP, and to also get links to our social media sites if you want to engage with us on different forums as well. At the same time, we always appreciate your support. For those who want to take the next step from just appreciating our content to helping support what we do here, we have our Patreon, which you've seen at the bottom of the screen here, patreon.com/morningstarproject. We have plenty of different tiers from $2 on up, so spend only what you're willing to spend on that, but we appreciate every single cent.
And to build on that just a little bit, two things that'll really help us out right now is one, that Patreon, and the second one, if you have time, go to the Project Morningstar website and enlist for the newsletter. That is the big push that we are doing right now. If you guys join the newsletter, then you're already helping us big time.
Exactly. At this point, Bowman, do you have any other final closing remarks?
That's it. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming, and thank you to everybody on the team. There is a bread disc with cheese in your immediate future as part of my thanks.
Dread it, run from it.
Customary Revshare Day flatbread.
The Revshare flatbread party arrives all the same. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and have a great rest of your day.
One day we're going to release a Roshigwe recipe, mark my words. Bye.